Saturday morning, I've made a nice big 90-degree, I think it's 50mm by 50mm strip of alley to tuck in the back there. Once I've done all the seam sealer in that, that's just a bit of a protector. But the next job is going to be this. Those of you that don't read German, that means seam sealer. It's quite weird, it's a half a kilo, but it's only a half a tin. Anyway, I'll be smearing that over all the welds and all the ugliness, and then once that's done, I actually managed to find a tin of textured, what do you call this stuff? I have a faint. Good morning, Saturday again. I've taken, I think it's 60mm or maybe 50mm wide strip of aluminium angle. It's very thin stuff, which I'm going to be using as a brace at the back. They're not a brace for strength, but rather just to tidy it up and to keep that in one. This thing still gets a bed liner as well, if you remember, that are removed and cleaned up. Then, for those that don't read German, seam sealer over every one of my very ugly welds. That will go on next. And then once I'm finished, leave that to dry for a few hours. We have a bit of luck that I got yesterday. Let me just get into the shade. A stone chip in white, and this is textured. So if you remember, we have textured stone chip here already, which was masked off around the wheel tubs. I'm going to do exactly the same, because I need to make a couple of these panels, closing panels, whatever you want to call them as well. One for each side, which will screw in place, which I'll paint white. So I'm not going to paint these sides, and I'm not going to paint that rear bulkhead. I'll leave them alone. I don't think they need any messing with. The floor, depending on how much paint's left in this can, I will do the floor as well as the sides. I think there's enough paint in this can for that. But basically try and cover, once I've done the seam sealer, try and cover all of my ugliness in some of this paint as well, the textured paint. I'll mask, obviously a lot of the edges I'll mask and keep it tidy. But yeah, looking forward to the next step, which kind of means that I'm wrapping up the rear. I found a rear window glass which is in Chesterfield at the minute, waiting to be collected by someone good and kind and able to bring it down to Kent, preferably Rochester. Kent's quite a big county. Anyway, if somebody's coming from Chester down to Kent, let me know please in the comments so I can make contact with you so we can get the glass, because I'd love to fit a piece of glass in there as well. I just think for me that'll make the thing a little bit better. The other thing I'm going to do is, now that I've taken the black vinyl off this glass, the security cages have been painted satin black already, but I'm going to get some window tint, and I'll tint the side glass on the doors as well as these rear glasses. I'm going to tint them slightly, and then the other thing I'm going to do is to actually run, I've done this with a few vehicles, just a straight line across there and up to there, straight line across, and then in between I'll probably get some satin body wrap, it might be gloss, I'm not sure yet, or black vinyl, and basically just wrap that little section. So then the illusion, once this is tinted, is that that'll be one big window. So you then have what looks like a big glass in the back, even though it's actually two doors. It's just an illusion that I've always liked. I did that on my S10 and on the little Citroen Berlingo that I had. I tinted out the sort of the panels between the glass, and it just makes it look like a big piece of glass, which is always nice. This is a bit of a change. So yeah, time to start Saturday morning's tasks. First things first, seam sealer, rubber gloves, get going. Well, you can see it's all masked, taped around the edges, etc. It took a while. The next job now is start with that seam sealer, see if I can smear it everywhere that I worked before. Just make everything look a bit tidier. And then next job will be wait for it to dry. It's about 11:15 already now, and the temperature outside is only 27 degrees Celsius, but I think it'll get a bit hotter today. And then once it's dried properly, I'll give it an hour. I'll come in with that textured paint and paint the sides and the floor. The nice thing when it's all masked like that is at least the overspray is reduced, or the damage from the overspray is reduced. Oh, there you go. That's done with the seam sealer everywhere. I'm hoping that that's okay, and I hope the music doesn't get me a copyright strike. But there you go. This is done for now. I think I'll do the rest in silent. And there we have it. Back is white, back is whack, whack is back. So with all the paint, textured paint and all that, that wasn't a good idea. It didn't last very long. So I'll probably end up going and spending money and buying a litre of something. Now you can see the thick and heavy welds everywhere, but that's okay. At least it's repaired. Around the back, drain holes are back in where there used to be rust holes. And then coming out, you can see all the rust repairs in various places. But that's okay, because this thing is getting that little cover. So I'm really pleased with the outcome. I think it's done alright. Next step will be start at the front end. thought I was going to start working on this today, but I haven't. Instead, I've been cleaning, painting rubbers, so all the rubbers are back to black, properly tidy. I've painted the back of this. I've got some little trick up my sleeve for this last little section. Put stone chip all the way down the bottom here. Stone guard, chip guard, whatever it's called. Obviously you've got seam sealer as well. And then these new plates that I made up that were grey, I've put a couple of coats over them as well. So they blend in a little bit better. They're not the same as the original ones, unfortunately. Obviously everything is very stark now, and you can see all the faults and flaws and whatever, but I'm happy. This is 100% repaired, stronger, fixed, whatever you want to call it. You can see it's a bit grubby, but once the black tray goes over the top of this, because I've been in and out with my dirty feet, walking, crawling, sitting, and then this side the same. Obviously where I've removed the frame at the top, all of this is now kind of surplus, but I'm leaving it there. And then the big one today was that. I removed that sheet of plywood that was in there. It was put in with wood screws as well as 4 nuts and bolts. Well, they were actually riv nuts. You can see the one I had to tear out because it would not, it had released obviously beforehand. Everything was glooped up with silicone, so I used my little DeWalt cordless drill with a big wire wheel on the front and sat and scraped all that shit off, and then it ended up everywhere, both inside and outside, inside the cab, but it's all cleaned up now. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to paint that whole section, basically the frame, let's see, from there to there, if you can get that picture, all the way around to the left and the right. That I'm going to paint satin black, because once I've put in a glass or a kind of a divider of some sort, I was going to buy some glass. I'm trying to get out of that because I've decided that putting a sheet of polycarbonate, caravan window, perspex, whatever in there is good enough. But I'll put tint over that as well, just so that it blends in a bit better with the satin black framework that I'm going to put around that edge. I think it'll look quite nice when you look in. You've got the lower bed in white. It's just off-white actually, but and then above that line, this is from recharging the welder twice, the excess that you waste. Across there and above that section, black as a framework, that'll be good. And then, as I said, back here I'm just about to do a bit of magic as well, and then I'll remove this. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'm going to be putting more white on that edge, because once the black tray goes over the top of that, you won't see any of that, but it just looks a bit stupid, because I had a slightly different plan originally for that. Plans keep changing. Other than that, as I said, these rubbers were covered in paint because this was a decorator's van. They're all black and back to black again. Tidier. There's bits of paint still that I left alone, but in the greater scheme of things, it's all clean and tidy now. Bit by bit. Of course, all I need now is for this thing to fail MOT in a big way. I'll be really pissed considering the amount of time I've put in already, and effort and money. But that's life. Get on with it. So yeah, next step, fix that little step down there. Just get that sorted. And then I'm thinking whether I do this black today. I might do this today, or I might start on the outside here. Basically I need to DA all of that, get it cleaned up, and then I'm going to start putting a bit of filler, skim of filler, because there's obviously all of that to cover over all of these edges. There's also some damage there. It's not a lot, it's just a bit, but I can fix that enough with a bit of filler. I didn't realize until I ran my hands over it a couple of times that it was buggered. But that's all stuff we can fix. So yeah, we'll be back